I'm gonna tell you. Tell me when I unmute it. I mean, the broadcast has started, but it could just be like, Welcome everyone to Theodicee Podcast. My name is Word Justice. Please subscribe, hit the up like button and notification bell so you'll be notified every time Theodicee Podcast is live or does an upload. Yes, welcome back, everyone. The Odyssey Podcast. I am back, like I told you guys I would, from the first upload that I did. I hope a lot of you went to check it out, and I hope you guys do check out this one. I came back to give you guys a rundown on the happenings. Like I told you guys, I will be discussing different topics. The first thing I definitely wanted to mention, for those who do know, for those who don't know, Michael K. He's from The Wire, better known as Omar. He passed away. He was found dead in his apartment, age 54, alleged overdose. For me, I really don't buy into it because he advocated against drugs. So it was kind of hard to hear all in a sudden he allegedly overdosed on a drug that they haven't even released. I hope to get more information on that so we can definitely discuss that. If you guys do want to have a discussion about Michael K. Williams and just his story, you guys can leave a comment in the comment box. The next person I definitely want to talk about is Greg Leaks. For those of you who follow reality TV, like I do, I follow some of the programs. Real Housewives of Atlanta was one of the programs that I did follow, and I genuinely did love Greg on the show. um, I basically watched from the time that he did catch colon cancer 5 years ago and went into remission. And it was so sad to hear that the cancer did return and he ended up succumbing to his sickness and passing away recently. And that was very, very sad to hear. And I'm so, like, my condolences to his sons and his other kids besides the kids that he has with Nene Leaks. A next thing that was out there that would happen, guys, that I really want our women to just be mindful of, like how we carry ourselves at times, even though we want to maintain a free spirit and be ourselves and be expressive. We really got to be mindful on how we choose to be expressive. It was a young Instagram model, very beautiful young lady, found dead in her apartment from an apparent murder suicide. And when I actually heard about it, it was so sad. Her name is Mercedes Moore. You guys could go check out her Instagram. Um, some people were making their opinions and statement based on the way she carried herself and she dressed. Caused this person to do what they did. From my understanding, she was being stalked. Um, Women, we just have to, like I said in the beginning, just be mindful of the choices and the decisions that we choose to make. Because it can cost us our lives pretty much. It definitely did cost her her life, and she didn't know it was going to end just like this. In other news, I'm so happy to hear they're getting ready to open back up the Chanel Lewis case. So, for those of you who don't really have an understanding on the Chanel Lewis case, and I have to go in depth and do my research also, I'm gonna just give you a briefing from what I do and can recollect. Chanel Lewis, a young man, he has mental illness. Um, he's basically accused of killing a young lady um on Howard Beach. The father end up finding the body of his daughter. Chanel family put out a petition and got 40,000 signatures. The family then presented that petition to the district attorney, which is Melinda Cates, for the case to be retried. I definitely, in my opinion, I know the case has to be retried because when it first took place, I can recollect in my mind how I felt. And it was just like, it's apparent that this young man is incapable of doing what he's being accused of. Um, I think the police that was involved in taking down the report and even arresting him has a lot to do with it. I think they're corrupted in some form or sense, but I'm very happy that the case is being able to be reopened because it definitely needed to be. So you guys just stay tuned for that because I will be following that case and we will be going through that process of trying to make sure that Chanel Lewis does get justice. Um, One thing I also want to bring up, like I tell you guys, I do jump into the celebrity gossip every now and then, but I will give my congratulations real quick to the Cardi B. She gave birth to a baby boy, Kylie Jenner, pregnant with her second child. Uh, P. Diddy, let me tell you guys, I gotta laugh because he's old as hell and he's out here trying to still be young. I don't get it. He was with Young M.A. Now he's with Jody Chavez. Now, if you know who Jody Chavez is, you know that's that Future. That is Future and Bow Wow's baby mother. So it's just crazy. And other things, guys, we will be discussing more on the rundowns as I get more information on certain things that's been taking place that's hitting these streets and it's really on fire. And I would hope everybody would want to know. So if you guys are liking and enjoying the rundowns on the happenings, please subscribe and hit the up like button and notification bell. I have a very, very special discussion that I really am so excited to even talk about. I'm trying to make it an exclusive topic of what today is Wednesday. Well, now we're in Thursday. Well, exclusive topic for Thursday, honestly, where we give hip hop knowledge, things that we did not know. And so I did not know that it was somebody else that was, the first to even create the rapping situation and bring in hip hop. I always thought like it came from African Bambaataa and it was the Boogie Down Bronx, that the hip hop scene started from, but it was somebody before that. And I got knowledge from that from two guests that's here to speak on it. So I was very happy to just learn something new in hip hop knowledge. So, Grandmaster Flowers, that was the person who was here before African Bambaataa. So, with that being said, I would like my two guests to introduce themselves and just give you guys a little highlight on some hip hop knowledge on things that we may not have known. Well, welcome, guys. Welcome, guys. Please introduce yourself and thank you for coming through at the Odyssey Podcast.
Hey, how you doing? Word Justice. This is Ultimate Kane Man from Kane Tube TV. And I have my beautiful queen here with me, Puerto Rican 360. Thank you for having us on your show.
Thank you guys for even blessing my show to even give me some hip hop knowledge on things that I was unaware of. So, yes, like me finding out that Grandmaster Flowers was the first person to pretty much start the hip hop game.
Well, basically, Grandmaster Flowers was a DJ,
Out of Brooklyn, New York.
and he was the first DJ to take two records.
And play them in sequence with basically what you know now as a hip hop beat. Hip hop beat is basically a loop. It's just a loop beat playing in repetition to make the song. So Grandmaster Fly was back like in 1970, 71. He was actually the first DJ way before Bam, way before Flash, to ever mix two records in a sequence, which you know nowadays as a hip hop beat. He did it 4 or 5 whole years before Flash or Bam even was ever noticed for even doing it. So Grandmaster Flowers basically don't get his recognition the way
Mm.
he should get his recognition as the true pioneer of hip hop. He's one of the first DJs to take a James Brown breakbeat and make it into a hip hop beat. A lot of people don't know that. Grandmaster Flowers was known for playing in the park jams in Brooklyn, like throughout East New York and Brownsville in the early 70s. He died in 1992 from being homeless. He had a heavy drug addiction because he was depressed because he didn't get the recognition he deserved, like, say, Flash or Bam.
And that's the saddest thing about it when you even hear that you get a story of understanding because there's always somebody there before somebody else, but just to know that those who were there before don't receive the recognition that's needed to know that look, if it wasn't for me giving you this stepping stone, it wouldn't be what we call hip hop right now. So I'm just like so intrigued, and I definitely wanted to give Grandmaster Flowers his flowers at this point. You know what I'm saying? Because I do feel like you get the whole hip hop story of African Bambaataa, and then that has been tarnished. You feel what I'm saying?
Right. But see now, African Bambaataa and well Flash, what they did was they just took his technique and perfected it, and then put their own style. Because Flash is different from Bam, is different from Herc. All DJs, but they all have a little something that they do special.
I mean, no disrespect to the
Okay.
Bronx, but the real hip hop started in Brooklyn. No disrespect to the Bronx.
And okay, and so with during your era and your time and coming up, do you feel like the genre of music has definitely changed for the good or for the bad?
I mean, tremendously. I think the music really, I don't want to seem biased or partial to what the younger generation is listening to or doing out here as far as what they consider their style or era of music. But I feel as though what we created it has gone to shit. You understand? When you have the likes of Little Nas X's and little this and little that, hip hop is not what it used to be. Hip hop basically started as a movement, a message for our people to give us something to do to get out of the streets. High, intense power, healing our people. You know, it wasn't until this meeting in the late 80s, early 90s is what really changed hip hop from the 90s to what you see now. Hip hop used to always be about positivity, partying, what your homeboys is doing, just freestyle, having a good time. poetry in motion, poetry on the record. That was hip hop. You know, whoever can rhyme on the record, the wordsmith. You know what I'm saying? So you know, hip hop went from that, and then it went to like a gangster type of rap type of thing when it went out west. You know, the NWAs and the Ice T's and the this and that, the West Coast gangster scene. That's what shaped the tone for like '90s hip hop because
Mm.
it went from don't do the drugs to all right, sell the drugs so we can make some money so we can live lavish and be like Tony Montana. So nowadays, when you listen to rap music or hip hop music, they advocate drug use. And it's not even just regular marijuana or some alcohol. There's all types of shit like pills, you know, psychotropic pills that, you know, most of these rappers don't even have a prescription for or may not even be diagnosed
But
for the
they're
shit
using
that they
it.
taking.
Mhm.
So you just popping these pills and you taking all this shit and then you in the club and you listening to these tones and frequency. A lot of the music you hear now is tones and frequency. It has no measures, it has no real scales, it's just a bunch of boom boom scratchy, boom boom scratchy. You know, a bunch of tones and frequency.
It's almost like
So
it's almost like how Woodstock was
Doing the hippie
back
movement.
then. You know, they would take the LSD
mhm.
and the music was very like
Trance like.
trancy and everybody was like zoned out, you know, but it was slow. This frequency now is different. You know, you when you take a psychotropic medication and you don't have a chemical imbalance, a mental, you know, disorder, what you do is you're causing yourself to have one now because you're taking this medication. And what it does is it works the opposite way. It starts to take the chemical out of your brain to cause you to act psychotic.
He's completely out of control.
Instead of putting the chemical in the brain to cause the brain to act to be under control.
Got it. And that's the thing about it because and it's funny because now you see even from the younger rappers right now, everybody has to drink some type of lean or they're popping some type of pill just to be able to get up on the stage to do and yeah, just to perform, just to show their creativities. A lot of them that did interviews, they talk about that's the way that they're able to best express their activities and creativities by being high. Now, you guys doing music and been doing it for a long time. What are you guys trying to basically come into want to implement into the music game in this timing we're at? With the younger with the younger genre per se.
Like basically it's like this. My message stay the same. See, when you have something that's authentic, it's based on consistency and persistency. You know, I come from a boom bap era. I come from a era where hip hop had a message. What I have to offer today's youth is basically a message of basically maybe hope that you don't have to sell your soul or compromise your soul and give up your whole just to make a deal and get a bag. You know, I'm showing and proving every day on a regular basis outside of just music. You know, music is just mixing universal sounds in the competition. I mean, composition, mixing universal sounds into composition. That's all music basically is. And like as far as what I have to offer, like now I'm at a position where I have a studio, I have a business, and for the younger talent that want to do something real, something positive, or maybe have a message, something of some type of content, you can come holler at me. Studio's free. All I'm here is to help you reach your highest plateau or greatest achievements.
And that's the thing about it. I'm happy that you said that because I don't think that it has enough outlets for young people to be able to fully express their creativity and be able to be themselves in the same token. um and just cadence, it doesn't have that anymore, you know what I'm saying? And that's well needed to be incorporated within, I feel, within our genre of just music and new developing artists or young women, young ladies, excuse me, young ladies or young gentlemen that want to be within the music industry. Do you feel that it would ever be a chance that the genre of music can change and bring back a feel of when it was back in the days, in the
I
older
mean,
era?
I think it could come back, but the main issue is that unfortunately a lot of these new artists, young artists, they don't pay homage to the people that paved the way.
Mm,
And that's a big problem. Just because their sound is not your sound doesn't mean you are not supposed to pay homage. Because without them, you wouldn't have this lane. And they're the
mm.
ones who really put in the blood, sweat, and tears because they didn't have social media.
I agree with that
Oh,
100%. I
oh,
agree with that. I think that
also,
it should be some type of acknowledgement, and it goes back to what we even was speaking about in the beginning. No, recognition on what was being able to give you a stepping stone to be able to be where you're at. Um, but yeah,
also,
what do you think?
also, let me throw this into the pot, baby. As far as like some of the young artists, you have some of the older artists too that's in this game that are gatekeepers and are keeping some of these young artists back from reaching their greatest potential or highest plateau. Also, as well, you have some young folks, the young talent, they don't pay homage because that come from in the home before they even became a star. They didn't just become a star, start disrespecting their people before them. Started in the home with maybe lack of teaching or the absent father, as most young indigenous or people of color men, young men go through. And it's been like that for centuries. That goes back as far as the Willie Lynch theory, even a little bit before then. But as far as back as the Willie Lynch theory, as far as modern times in the last 400 to 500 years. So, a lot of these young brothers, they grow up, they only imitate what they see. If they see the worst, because they come from the worst environment, then they're going to emulate and imitate the worst. Some of them be very talented. They get there, they use their talent, maybe in the booth, maybe on the basketball court. But let's just stick to the music. They use their talent to go in the booth. They make these records, a lot of imaginary, based on their talent to be able to construct words, to rhyme, and similes and this and that. And then, they get nice. You own your craft and this and that. You get there, maybe like some, not all, and not everybody always get the deal. But for those that get the deal or get that approachment for the deal, they approach you, they offer you the money or they offer you a contract or whatever. A lot of these younger talent or anybody for that matter, because it's been like that ever since the beginning.
Hmm.
When you down and out and you don't have nothing,
It's like what you're willing to sacrifice. It's
right?
like,
You willing
yeah.
to do anything.
Right? It's like
You
it's like dangling, it's like
dangling a
dangling a
carrot,
piece of meat in front of a crocodile.
right? Or dangling a carrot in front of a horse or whatever. It's the same deal. There was a song that was out back in the day called "What People Do for Money."
Hmm.
Like the great $1 million man said, everybody has a price.
And that's the thing about it. Everybody has a price, but then I watch where you see the millennials stepping into the industry, um, and some of them is like whatever is dangled in front of their face because they don't know what it is. They're thinking like, oh, this is a lot of money and whatever, and it's really not, and they're selling themselves short. And then you have those that they automatically have the mental of I'm doing this independently. But what I realized, a lot of those who decided to go independent end up passing away. And what I also realized, and I'm talking about the young artists right now,
Or the
like the
younger
King Von,
talent, right?
right,
Because they involved in the street life
Right, because they
and the
straddling
rap
both
life. You
sides of the
straddling the
fence.
right, and
fence.
that's what I'm saying. And it goes back to us speaking on the frequency of the music, because now what they're deciding to rap about is what they lived. Like majority of them is either what they lived or what they grew up seeing. So, I mean, with that being said, it's like it goes back to giving recognition to those who did pave the way, that did give opportunity for us to have a moment to express our creativity. However, I feel like I'm young still and I like certain beats, but then I understand the words that come behind the beat. It changes the whole frequency of it. But growing up, I also grew up off of very uplifting, you know what I'm saying, music. Like the Whitney Houstons and the Tony Braxtons, like uplifting love and all of that type of stuff. And even in the rap era with the Dr. Dre's and all of that, you know what I'm saying? Snoop Dogg's and all of them, they still had a message behind what they were trying to say, despite what they look like. It was a message definitely trying to just get across, you know. But now for us, it's like it's not really a message. It's like you hear the beat, the words ain't saying too much, but the same old repetitive stuff. Nothing has changed. So now, like I said, you guys being in music, for the timing that you guys have been in music, you creating beats, doing your own thing on that type of level, um, you see a future with the genre being able to be changed up in any form of way if this generation chooses to take advice?
If they choose to take advice, it can change overnight. Overnight, if you believe, you can achieve. It can change overnight, niece. If they choose for which to take direction, a little direction. Nobody's trying to rule nobody's life. Nobody's trying to control nobody. But some people don't have self-control. But they
Okay.
worry about someone trying to control them. You don't even have self-control. So how can you even know when somebody even is trying to control you? Just because someone sees better for you or see different for you. Someone may have the hindsight, insight, foresight to be able to see what you cannot see.
And I
And,
think that's what it is. I think that's what the millennials struggle with.
and
You
see in
know?
hip hop,
Yeah.
and see hip hop, what the millennials don't understand. Hip hop had a golden era where we had a plethora of talent with all different varieties of sound. Everybody had different flows. Nowadays, every five rappers you hear on the radio, everybody got the same beat, using the same drum kits, same bullshit sounds, Fruity Loops,
Yeah. It's a
okay?
consistent.
All that FL
Yeah.
Studio sounds and shit. No disrespect to the FL Studio beat makers, but
I mean,
those are
state your
FL Studio
opinion.
sounds. They're using that bullshit ass music, and everyone got the same beat and the same flow. What bothers me about the millennials that's from the New York region, the tri state region, the
Hmm.
East Coast, up north, you need to stop rapping like the cats from down south. Let the South rappers or the Midwest rappers or the West Coast rappers rap like they rap. We need to get back to piecing up real bars. This what made us stand out from the other region. Now you can't tell who's who.
Right, because it sounds like a blend. And it's so funny that you mentioned that. I definitely do think that a lot of the rappers have adopted that southern
Because
rapping
they think
tone.
that's the way to get
I
on.
don't know.
People
It's
don't
just been
understand.
crazy.
New York hip hop is dead. most New York rappers, they have to go to Atlanta
Mm.
or, you know what I'm saying, or LA to get put on, or New Orleans or Florida.
Which I
When back in the day, it was vice versa.
right, right,
Everybody had to
right.
come to the birthplace. I don't understand how the birthplace of hip hop is lacking
In hip hop.
the lead or direction that it once had when it was in the golden era.
Yeah, I feel like the reason why that happened is because I think like New York was trying to keep up with the hype, like the next new thing. And I think that's what definitely got them caught up and have their music lacking. But how do you feel Puerto Rican being also just in the industry for a while and doing R&B music and just hearing now the difference between when you grew up listening to the music you listen to now, what's your feelings on it, and do you feel like it can be a change?
Well, I think that in the R&B sense now, it's starting to make a turn back to the original sound
Okay.
with artists like her, and there's other couple of artists. I don't really know their names. I've just heard the songs, but they're like that neo soul type of sound. It's starting to come back slowly back to the essence of real R&B.
Hmm.
Auto tunes don't mean you sing.
Everybody
Yeah,
was sounding like a
that's
robot.
so true.
When
Effects,
you go in the studio, it's supposed to be your raw voice.
natural talent.
You know,
Let's make a disclaimer real quick to you auto tunes users. For those who don't know what auto tunes is, auto tunes basically, to give you the history. Auto tunes started with Peter Frampton back in the late 70s. He used the talk box. It was mastered by Roger Troutman, by Zap from Zap and Roger. Like Mr. Computer Love, I Wanna Be Your Man, More Bounce Than an Ounce, that guy. He perfected the talk box. That was the guy that you hear on the California Love hook with Tupac and Dr. Dre. Off the talk box. So that machine used to cause a lot of lung problems, a lot of stomach issues, because the tube used to get a lot of bacteria caught in it. So they had to find a way to make it as a plug-in, an audio effect plug-in when you're in the studio. So that way you can have the pitch and play with the vocals. That's all auto tunes is. Auto tunes don't help you sing better. If you can't sing, you can't sing.
and that's the bottom line.
Bottom line.
That's it. That's it. If you can talk rap, that's just what it's
Anybody
hitting
can
for.
sing with auto tune. That doesn't make you real talent.
That's right.
And that's another thing too. I feel like they have made it look like coming into the industry of music is no longer something difficult because
Because
of so many other
you know what,
people that they let in that
you
you'll
know
be like,
what?
okay, where is okay? What talent are you bringing when you had the Queen Latifahs and all of what I'm saying?
I say
You
one
had
thing.
the salt and peppers and like it's crazy to me.
This generation right here, I gotta say this, that I was watching growing up hip hop one day, and Ja Rule was talking to his kids,
Mhm.
and Irv Gotti were talking. They were all talking together, all their kids and them two, and they were telling them that they have it so easy now. Yeah. Because of all these social media platforms.
Right, they bossy.
We had to really grind,
make the tape,
make the tape,
press the tape,
perform it,
take it to the DJ.
right.
Hopefully that you can get put on.
Exactly. We had to go to open mics and all these shows and all these things to get out there because we didn't have these platforms. And so I know for a fact they wouldn't survive if in our time trying to get that music out there.
And not only
Because
that,
then they're not as hungry as we are. We were hungry.
A lot of these people aren't. A lot of these kids.
And it feels like a platter, right? Social media feels like a platter because you're having overnight sensations on the TikTok, on the Snapchat, and you
Instagram,
name it, on
etc.
the Instagram overnight. So it's just become like, even if you don't got talent, they put it in your mind that you got talent. So now your mind takes you on like this little fantasy ride,
Right.
so you can't determine the reality. And I think that's probably what's going on with majority of the millennials that come into the music game, and then the generations way before, I understand their feelings. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we worked very hard, but we want you guys to work hard. So even if it was given to you, do something what with what was given to you. Because if it was handed to you, you ain't have to work hard. Make it happen. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying?
I'm gonna say this. I just want to put this out there real quick. Hip hop, right, started in the '70s and shit with the rappers and all that on the right on the mic, right? And then in the '80s, you had positive hip hop, with Public Enemy and De La Soul and Native Tongue, Jungle Brothers, and this and that. You had some positive rappers like KRS-One, Big Daddy Kane. Right in the '90s, you had Snoop, Dre, and all the gangster rap, Cube, and all the murder, kill rap. 2000s, you had somewhat of a party rap after Biggie and Tupac died in the late '90s. You had the jiggy rap or the P Diddy type of rap, where it was still kind of hard, but it was gangster and shiny suit at the same time. Then you had the trap rap started to pick up with T.I. and then down south guys, and then rap just took a total change. I'm saying to say this. I know I'm rambling, but I'm just saying to say this. I was just saying something earlier about the auto tunes. In a minute, rappers are going to be replaced by robots. Why do you think nowadays with the younger generation, right, the younger millennial, the millennial rappers, a lot of y'all rappers is dying every day. It's like four rappers a day for the millennials that's dying every day. A lot of rappers you don't even hear about. A lot of Instagram, YouTube, internet, overnight sensations. They pop up, they got a little hit, got following and all that. We never hear about them because they don't make it to BT, MTV. They don't get the big promotion. They don't get the big advertising, big marketing. But nonetheless, they still rappers. So rappers are rappers. They get their little money off the Instagram, Spotify, and they their own boss. I say it to say this: a lot of them are dying. You know what I'm saying? Gun violence, drug overdose. In a minute, rappers are going to be replaced by robots. That's why the auto tunes are so popular. Because in a minute, they ain't going to need humans to do it no more. They got ghostwriters. They got a lot of people's rhymes they can recycle and regurgitate, chop up, and mix up. Have a robot spit your rhyme.
Well, they're gonna have robots. We can tell that's like the next step,
Yeah.
right? To have robots just be incorporated because they're already. Well, let me say it better.
Hip hop is dead.
They're already incorporated, but now putting them in certain spots to
Positions.
right. And I don't think that that has not even been woken up on, right? That's something I definitely want to talk about and discuss and get deeper on. Um, it's always just a pleasure of just knowing something that I did not know before. And
Master
Grandmaster
Flowers.
Flowers was something that took me by storm because, like I said, there's so much stories out here, right? But it's not full stories. So you're just out here getting half stories. And so when you do have the opportunity just to get awareness of where things really did start from and things that we should know, just coming into whatever we choose to do, whether it's artistry or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's just being aware and understanding where it stemmed from to know where you're going along in the process. You guys, I would love, of course, to stick around longer, but unfortunately, I do have to wrap it up. And I know my guests definitely have things to do also. But I want you guys to please subscribe to Theodesty Podcast, hit the up like button and notification bell. So every time I go live or I upload a video, you guys will be able to listen and just be in tuned on the topics, on the rundown, on the happenings that's been going on, and I'll continue bringing you guys that. And I also want my guests to also just give you a little insight of where you can find them and keep up with them if you want to purchase beats, jingles, whatever it may be. I'm going to leave it to Puerto Rican 360 just to pretty much discuss and let you guys know where you guys can find her.
Okay, well, all the beats provided today for today's broadcast are copywritten and produced by Ultimate K-Man and Skull Crusher Productions.
And AskGov.com.
And if you want to find us, holler at us for a beat, you can hit the Instagram, skullcrusher_7, or you can hit the email at skullcrusherproduction7@gmail.com.
And yes, guys, thank you guys so much for coming in with the hip hop knowledge. Like I said, we're going to be back. I'll be back uploading, going live, and just having more topics to discuss. But please remember what I told you guys. Look up that Chanel Lewis case. Let's try to see if we can put our hands in to assist, because it's definitely unjust what's happening. And just please, Skull Crusher Productions 7, Ultimate Cane Man, Puerto Rican 360. If you want beats, holla at them. They have actually a content creator already that does have a beat for them. It's another content creator that will be having another beat dropping from them. Trust me, is very much talented, and we need to bring the old feel back. So please subscribe again to Theodesty Podcast. Hit that up like button, notification bell, and every time I go live and every time I upload, you will be notified. And thank you. It's your girl, Word Justice. You guys have a good night.